This podcast is made possible by you, the supporters of WPLN and WNXP, Nashville Public Radio.
This is the Nashvillager Podcast. It's August 6th, 2025. On this day in 1885, baseball teams from Memphis and Nashville went head-to-head. There was a lot of interest in the game. I mean, there's nothing quite like a cross-state rivalry, right? People here in Nashville could see it in person, but the West Tennessee fans had to get more creative. About 200 of them gathered in the lobby of the Terrace Hotel for a sort of early prototype of play-by-play coverage. Someone here in Nashville sent updates via telegraph, and that information was displayed in two ways. There was a blackboard for updating the scores and all the stats, and someone made a diagram of the field with hooks on it so that players' names on little placards could be moved around and hung in the right places as they made it from one base to the next. The Nashville team won. I'm Nina Cardona, and this is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee with historical context from Nashville Public Radio, WPLN News. I don't know how that crowd of 200 following an away game in Memphis rated for an 1880s baseball fandom. But this last weekend, in the far opposite corner of Tennessee, a regular season Major League attendance record was set in Bristol for a little while. I'll explain. The city's NASCAR Speedway was reconfigured into a baseball field for the game between the Atlanta Braves and Cincinnati Reds. Between the usual seating and part of the permanent facility and temporary grandstands, there was room for the 91,032 people who showed up to watch on Saturday. Now, that's not as many as the MLB's all-time biggest crowd. That record was set in 2008 in the LA Coliseum, but that was an exhibition game. The regular season attendance record had stood since 1954, 84,000 at the Cleveland Stadium. Now, to sweeten the appeal of coming to be in such a huge crowd, the Bristol game had added attractions. A fan zone with food trucks, pitching tunnels, batting cages, a Ferris wheel, a pregame concert by Tim McGraw and Pitbull. Baseball Hall of Famers Johnny Bench and Chipper Jones were brought in to throw out the ceremonial first pitches, along with NASCAR drivers Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott. The players were given a triumphal entry into the stadium, paraded around the track in pickup trucks. But the weather just didn't cooperate. The skies opened up right before the start time. The teams played an inning before a rain delay turned into a total washout. The rest of the game was postponed to the next day. Once they did finally play it out, the Braves won 4-2 to the cheers of the folks who were able to take that rain check and stick around an extra day in East Tennessee. Now, in a lot of ways, Bristol could seem like an unlikely place for an event of that size. According to their Chamber of Commerce, the greater Bristol area's entire population is only a little bit larger than the crowd that went to Saturday's game. It has no connection to the MLB. Interstate 81 does go through town, but as part of a stretch that's hemmed in on either side by mountains. So it's not exactly hard to get to, but it isn't the easiest for fans from all over to access either. But there's just something about Bristol and its speedway that makes it the place for these kinds of events. First of all, if you've never been there, Bristol has a quirky sort of charm. It's really two towns in two states combined to make one community the size of a small city. Main Street is the state line between Tennessee and Virginia, and they lean into that hard. Flags fly all along the stretch of downtown with historic brick buildings. Tennessee's Tri-Star is on the south side, Virginia's state seal on the blue background flutters from all the buildings on the north side. At one end of the street, a metalwork arch that lights up at night spells out the name of the town in giant letters, the state abbreviations on their respective sides in smaller letters, and under all of that declares it a good place to live. Now, it's not the only twin city sort of situation. It's not even the only one Tennessee has, but most others are like Ardmore, Tennessee, and Alabama, where the fact that they straddle the line certainly exists, but it isn't really used as a selling point. Meanwhile, Bristol offers up multiple photo opportunities to play it all up. It's also a community with a long history of drawing people there for entertainment purposes. Nashville may be Music City now, but Bristol was the birthplace of country music, and it still hosts shows that draw people from all over that section of Appalachia to take in live performances of old-time tunes. But also, the fact that, aside from racing, there aren't any major pro sports or college sports right there is a plus. It's neutral territory for any and every sport to have a blowout spectacle there. And once in a while, they do. This baseball game was the first for the Speedway and baseball, but there have been several, hey, let's do things up big football games at the Speedway. And that's kind of always been a goal there. They had an exhibition NFL game there shortly after opening the track in 1961. That one was pretty much a failure, but eventually the facility figured things out. The most recent football game there was in 2016. The University of Tennessee Vols versus the Virginia Tech Hokies. Again, with playing up the state line thing, right? And that drew 156,000 fans, which is a lot more than the baseball game had, and more than were at that exhibition baseball game that set the all-time record. So why didn't they have that many this weekend? Well, they actually didn't want that big of a crowd. For NASCAR, they pack in 146,000 spectators. If you noticed, earlier I said they set up temporary grandstands and used a portion of the permanent seating. Because here's the thing, racetracks are way bigger than baseball stadiums and an entirely different shape. The organizers made the decision to close off the sections in turns 3 and 4 of the track because there was really no way to set things up so that everybody in all of the stands could see the actual game. They didn't want anyone who bought a ticket to be left only watching a giant screen and nothing else. Even with those rearrangements, Sports Illustrated reported that a lot of seats had badly obstructed views. All the same, the event was a reminder that the Bristol Motor Speedway is, despite all the odds against that location, a pretty phenomenal and humongous American venue, or as Sports Illustrated calls it, the last great Coliseum. In just a few minutes, this week's edition of What Wear Wednesday is coming up after the newscast.
Nashville Public Radio is always here to keep you informed, whether it's the latest news or music you should check out. Every week, What Wear Wednesdays shares the latest happenings taking place right here in Nashville by talking to members of our community, putting on events in your neighborhood and beyond. So tune in to What Wear Wednesdays every Wednesday, and you can always find events at WNXP.org/events.
Here's the latest from WPLN News. The state of Tennessee executed Byron Black by lethal injection yesterday in a procedure that caused him visible distress, according to media witnesses. The 69-year-old was sentenced to death for the killing of his girlfriend and her 2 daughters in 1988. The execution was carried out despite concerns about Black's heart implant. Black showed signs of distress and said he was in pain as he died. WPLN health reporter Catherine Sweeney says it's unclear whether that pain was the result of his electronic heart implant, which the state did not turn off.
Byron Black groaned and sighed as he was injected with a lethal dose of pentobarbital, and at one point said, "It's hurting so bad." Weeks ago, expert witnesses for Black's legal team said it was almost certain he would experience a painful death. There's always a risk of pain during lethal injection because the drugs are caustic and cause lung damage. Black also had a heart implant, and the medical experts said it was likely to dole out powerful shocks as he died. It's a tiny device, so the jolts wouldn't be visible. Those implants store a lot of data, including whether the defibrillator went off, and if so, when the shocks happened. That's what Black's attorney, Kelly Henry, wants to find out.
We'll have more information for you once the autopsy is concluded and once we're able to get possession of the defibrillator and take it to our own experts.
The last man to be executed, Oscar Franklin Smith, didn't show any of these same signs of pain. Catherine Sweeney, WPLN News.
Black's longtime defense attorney Kelly Henry called the execution, quote, the result of pure, unbridled bloodlust and cowardice, and she criticized the legal system.
The pain that he said he was experiencing could be from the pentobarbital, it could have been from the defibrillator, that we're not going to know. But this is a classic case of a person who was put through extreme pain through a process of lethal injection.
Black also had an intellectual disability that would bar his execution under current rules, but he was sentenced under prior competency rules. The family of Black's victims said they found closure in the execution after waiting 37 years and never receiving a confession or apology. The execution was the second in the state since May, after a 5-year pause. A man wanted for a quadruple homicide in West Tennessee has been arrested after a week-long search. Austin Robert Drummond was taken into custody in Jackson, more than 70 miles away from the scene of the crime. The murders were first discovered after an infant was found, abandoned but alive, in a stranger's front yard. The infant's parents, grandmother, and uncle were found dead in the woods dozens of miles away. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation believes the killings were a targeted attack by Drummond, who was dating the grandmother's sister. Investigators believe he killed the 4 adults and drove away with the baby before eventually dropping her off in a stranger's front yard. Authorities have confirmed the baby is safe and being cared for by other relatives. Dyer and Lake County's district attorney says it's very likely he will seek the death penalty for Drummond if he's convicted. 2 men and 1 woman are facing accessory charges for allegedly assisting Drummond. Well, kids in Nashville headed back to school yesterday. It's an exciting time for many. But Whitney Russell, the executive principal of Inglewood Elementary School, says the first day does come with some separation anxiety. This is especially true for her youngest students who were born at the height of the pandemic in 2020.
This is the year, the kindergarten, these are our COVID babies. So our COVID babies were really attached to their parents because they didn't know the world outside of their parents. So I'm sure there was a lot of anxiety leading up to today.
But one of her students, Asher, a 9-year-old 4th grader, showed no signs of nerves on his first day back. He's most excited to reunite with his classmates.
I'm feeling good about it. I'm seeing most of my friends that were here last year and some new kids, and my teacher's someone I know and is really funny, and yeah, I'm having a good time.
Kids in Williamson and Sumner counties began school Monday, while kids in Rutherford will return to class today. The role of university president at Tennessee State will now be a permanent one for Dwayne Tucker. The TSU alum has held the position in an interim role since December. The board made the move yesterday, praising Tucker's leadership through what it calls turbulent times. That includes rapid turnover in the president's office, extreme financial strain and layoffs, tensions with state officials, and even disruptions to the famed university marching band. Tucker was most recently CEO of the charter school network Lead Public Schools. That followed a 40-year career in business, including with Northwest Airlines. He joined the TSU board when the governor overhauled its membership, and Tucker has been thrust into negotiations to reallocate state funds to keep operations afloat. The iconic Jack's Barbecue sign on Broadway, with its neon pink pigs flying over the heads of passersby, will soon be removed as the restaurant shuts its doors. After 31 years on Lower Broadway, the beloved barbecue joint sold its property to focus on catering and its other 2 locations in town. The buyer is Jack's neighbor, Robert's Western World. The 2 buildings used to be joined, and the sale reunites them. Earlier this year, Robert's Western World announced that it would extend the 2nd floor to add a music stage and build a 3rd floor for office and kitchen space. It vowed never to have a rooftop bar. The owners tell the Tennessean they'll announce plans for the new space in the coming months. You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org. It is almost time for an East Nashville summer tradition, but this year, there's a little something extra.
I'm Marquise Munson here with another edition of Nashville Public Radio's What We're Wednesday, keeping you up to date with the happenings in Nashville this week. Here are some events to check out. Thursday night, Ozomatli performs at Cannery Hall's main stage. At the Blue Room on Friday night, Sean Thompson's Weird Ears, Weird Jazz. And on Tuesday, The Weeknd takes the stage at Nissan Stadium. For more events, head over to WNXP.org/events. This week is also the 2025 Tomato Art Fest on Friday and Saturday in East Nashville's 5 Points, featuring activities and contests, the parade, Bloody Mary garden party, of course, tomato art, and musician performances from Nashville artists Brennan Wadle, G-Slab, Pressure Heaven, Bean, and more. If you are looking for pre-Tomato Art Fest activities, there's a preview party on Thursday, An unofficial Tomato Art Fest celebration is Pre-Mater Party happening at the East Room on Thursday. The subject of this week's What We're Wednesday.
I am Taylor Cole, and I am the talent buyer and GM for the East Room. Tomato Arts Fest for me personally, well, right off the bat, let's go ahead and agree it's the hottest time of the year. But, it's also my favorite time of the year because it's probably the main thing that makes me feel like proud to live in East Nashville for as long as I have. And it makes me feel like any cool little farming simulator game I've ever played. Like they have like a little community thing they attend. I'm like, this is that for me. So I just love it, and getting to see all the art and fun bands.
Yeah, Richard Scudder. I've been a long-time resident of Nashville, and even though I don't live in East Nashville, my son does. Got to know it, got introduced to it, love it down here. Me and my wife eat down here all the time, stuff like that. Great restaurants, great venues. But Tomato Fest is one of those festivals that I personally enjoy. And then I just like the common ground that basically arts appreciation. And I was looking at the Tomato Fest, looking at the dates, and I kind of looked originally for what is the pre-Tomato Fest party, whether it's official or unofficial, and I really couldn't find one. And so I thought, well, you know what? Somebody has to be the first one to throw it, so why not me? And then as far as the arts go, this is going to be music, comedy, DJ. I'm more involved on the day-to-day with comedy. It's really going to be the transition between bands. I've got Josh Black, very well known in this community. And a little tidbit about Josh, he's also a very good artist as far as paintings and drawings and such. Actually has showcases of his art around town. And then I also have James Holiday. And James Holiday, for people that know James Holiday, James is a party. So that's good. Got the right two comedians for the event. And then on top of that, Kyle Scudder is going to do the DJing. Kyle's a well-established DJ, 10-plus years in this community, plays a lot of venues. He actually, before the rain set in, he actually did the opening set for Bonnaroo this year and is just a fantastic vinyl DJ. He can do electronic, too. But it's going to be a good time. I'm excited.
My band, Tails, is going to play as well as Lily Hyatt. I don't normally throw my own band on type of stuff, but we were looking for an early August show to play, and I was like, Richard, I think this would be a good fit if you don't mind having us. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And my band was really excited to join, and I've played in Lily Hyatt's band. I played drums for her for about a month or so when Trinity Lane came out, and so she's a real hero of mine personally. So if you've never seen Lily Hyatt, I think that she, is kind of the matriarch of East Nashville to me, so she screams being an East Nashvilleian, and her music is really great. And then Josh Lewis is also going to be there too.
The host.
Yeah, and he's been a part of our comedy scene here at the East Room that we do every Tuesday. We have an open mic, so he's been hosting that for a long time. And yeah, lots of really close friends that are in each other's circles and stuff like that for this event. And Tomato Fest is about community, and their whole slogan is even like, what is it? It's the uniter, not the divider, right? That's what they say. The people playing, the people involved, it's all really, I think it's just all meant to make you smile real big, so you can go into Tomato Fest feeling great about yourself. Check out people's weird tomato yard art. You know what I'm talking about? You walk around. I saw somebody had a jelly roll tomato in their yard recently. He had all the tattoos on the tomato.
It's the unknown right now. Somebody has to do the inaugural party, and it's something that I think will go over well. Hope to see a lot of people show up, and then all we'll do is try to improve upon it and make it a fixture and be a part of the Tomato Fest, which is such a great festival. Take your kids to Tomato Fest, get a babysitter, and come to the party the night before.
For more information about the Pre-Mater Party and other events happening this week, visit WNXP.org. My name is Marquise Munson, and thank you for listening to another edition of What We're Wednesday.
Thanks for listening to the Nash Villager podcast. We take this look at Nashville news every weekday. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and tell a friend or give us a mention on your socials. It really helps get the word out. And of course, everything at WPLN News is listener supported. You can become a member at WPLN.org. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for listening. Let's make this day a good one, and we'll catch back up tomorrow.